Love that voice. All right. Welcome everyone to April's Forest Park Southeast Neighborhood Association meeting. Aaron, I'm going to make you a co-host so you can help facilitate the meeting. Before we jump in, some quick ground rules as always. If you have questions, please enter them into the chat or raise your hand to speak. We do have some guest speakers tonight, so please no interruptions. And as always, behave with common courtesy. Please don't raise your voice. Try to keep your comments to under 2 minutes so we can respect everyone's time and leave the meeting on time. Today's agenda. We'll start out with the treasurer's report real quick, jump into community updates, events and such. We'll go into the crime and safety report with Officer Walker. Alderwoman Tina Peel will not be here tonight, so I'll run through some of the board updates that she had shared with me last night. Ron is here, and Ron may have some stuff to share about the neighborhood or the ward wide. And then our guest speakers, Chandra, Sean, Jen, Andrew, and if I'm missing somebody, I am so sorry, on the project called Future 64, and we'll hear more about that project. Before I get started, are there any questions? Awesome. Gonna jump right into the treasurer's report. Rachel, are you able to update us on all the happenings over the past month?
I sure can. We have a pretty simple treasurer's report this month. We are looking, of course, back a month at March, since that's the last full month we have. We started, I think that's the old treasurer's report that's on the screen there, Dan, but that's okay. The current month we had $1,566.46 in starting cash. For March, we had $100 in dues and donations received, thanks to one very generous person who donated $100 to the group. So if you're on the call, many thanks for that. It's much appreciated. And as usual, we had one expense, which was $14.99 for Zoom. So our ending cash was $1,651.47.
Sweet. And then if you are not a dues paying member, you can become a dues paying member at any time. Dues are pay what you can. You get voting privileges. We take dues via Cash App or cash or check. If you would like to send dues via cash or check or donations, you can send an email to forestparksoutheast@gmail.com and we can coordinate how to get that check or cash over to Rachel. Before we jump into community updates, does anybody have anything they would like to share or questions on that? Nope. All right. Jumping into community updates, is Lacey here tonight from City Greens?
Thanks, Dan. Hi, everyone. My name is Lacey Cagle. I'm the executive director at City Greens Market. And I asked Dan to put us on the agenda because I just wanted to remind you that we exist. If you don't remember, it's been a rough couple of years for everyone. And we actually had to close the storefront for a while and just do online orders, but we've been back operating for over a year now. And we're starting to actually have events like multiple times a month. And so first of all, I would say thank you to anyone who voted for us and for Midtown Community Services. We did get the Nature's Path grant based upon voting. So that will go toward the City Greens Community Garden, as well as toward some of our work working together for gardening, for nutrition education, and for helping families to get food. But we have a couple of events coming up that I just want to let you know. These are free, open to the public. We do a Meet Your Farmer event about once a month during the months that it makes sense to. And so this Thursday, from 3 to 6 on our patio, we have an event. We've got Pierce Creek Cattle Company, who they actually really specialize in those, like, if you want to buy half a cow type situations, which you don't have in the store, but if you're interested in that, they'll be there. You can talk to them about their practices, and then we'll have a couple other community organizations and vendors there, so you can just come meet them and meet people who care about the neighborhood. And then on May 5th, it's Give STL Day for the entire region. And we are holding an event. It is a fundraiser, but everything is donation based. So you can still come regardless of income, or if you want to pay or not pay. The event is actually free. We have local comedian Mary Jane, who's going to be doing a comedy set for us. We have an open mic night. And then Simfa, who's also a local comedian, is going to be the MC for the event. We'll have some turkey tacos and drinks, and there's like raffle prizes and stuff like that. So it's another fun way to get involved, and it's family friendly. In fact, we're really encouraging, if there's any young folks who want to be part of the open mic night, we're encouraging people to come out. I think we're probably gonna have some face painting and stuff like that. So I just want to let you know about those events, let you know we're still around. We are a nonprofit grocery store, and we are here for the neighborhood. We have a sliding scale model, and you can find out more at stlcitygreens.org.
Cool. Both of these events, I guess, are on the patio next to City Greens, yeah?
They are, yes, they're on the patio. All of our events will be on the patio. And if you ever want to use the patio for anything, let us know, because it is available for whatever event you want to do too.
Oh, cool. That's nice to know. Cool. Excited. Well, thanks for sharing. Does anyone have any questions for Lacey? No? All right. Well, thank you so much. You're happy to drop off or stick around, whatever you please. All right. I'm going to jump into some a program put on by Park Central. Park Central has free seasonal exterior maintenance for seniors. If you are over 60, you may qualify for their home program to improve safety and beauty for your home. This program is tree pruning or removal, snow removal, and bi-weekly lawn care. This service is available to anyone, to those who qualify in Forest Park Southeast. And if you have any questions or if you need more information, you can contact Mrs. Brown at 314-643-8261 or email her at nbrown@pcd-stl.org. We do have some events and planned from the Neighborhood Association this year. We have neighborhood cleanups. Sorry that we had to cancel our April one. It was on Easter weekend, and some of us were out of town for that, so we weren't able to host that. But in May, June, July, August, and September, the third Saturday of each month, we will have different cleanup events hosted around different parts of the neighborhood, including Kings Oak. Kings Oak being the first cleanup event for us this year. That'll happen in May. And then on May 22nd, same day or the same weekend as that first cleanup, we'll have a neighborhood flower planting, and I'll have more on that shortly. We are hoping to have some neighborhood soft opening get-togethers. Bootleg and Serendipity are new restaurants coming to the neighborhood, and hoping we can have a neighborhood get-together at one or both of those restaurants here in the near summer. 2 more events, at least. Neighborhood Night Out, planning that as we have in years past. This one for September 3rd, and then tree planting. So coordinating with some groups and some organizations, Forest Relief, the City of St. Louis, and then residents like yourselves, trying to find places we can plant some trees at no cost to you. But would make your block and everyone's block look a little bit nicer. More on that first cleanup event. So that first cleanup event is at Kings Oak. We will meet at the corner of Manchester and Newstead. Gloves and bags will be provided. If you could kindly do so, tell your neighbors. And if you know anybody in Kings Oak, help us reach out to them. We would love to extend the invite over to them as well as them into our neighborhood association meetings. Next, we have the neighborhood flower planting. That is May 22nd. We are working with Operation Brightside on this. They're providing the items, the rakes, the shovels, the weeders, the trowels, and the gloves. And we have 3 different types of flowers we're going to plant. If you could help us find some locations for these plants, there are some limitations of where we can plant these. We cannot plant on privately owned properties and locations outside of city limits. We want to keep it in the neighborhood. Where we can plant them are on medians, neighborhood entrances, parks, street barricades, tree lawns, vacant LRA lots, and other public places. So if you know of any good locations, do send us an email. We would love to make a list and have this well planned out before May 22nd, right? Yes, okay. A few more things before we move to award update. Lots of events. Please join the event committee. Help us design some flyers, event coordinate, and draft possible sponsorship opportunities. We would love to work more with not just our neighbors who live in houses next to us, but our neighbors who live or who work in the businesses within our neighborhood. If you are a go-getter, if you like planning events, if you like making new friends, and if you like making your neighborhood a better place to live, I think you're a well-qualified candidate to be on the event committee. Lastly, this is pretty new, and there were in early discussions on a public safety committee. This would work with the block captain program that we've discussed earlier and in previous meetings, but looking for primarily neighborhood solutions for neighborhood safety. So you're probably aware of some of the shootings that have happened recently within the neighborhood, and I think we all can agree that safety is a big priority, a top priority for all of us. And when we think locally and think of solutions locally, we're able to reduce crime locally. So what this public safety committee hopes to do, at least strategically, is strengthening communication between block neighbors and neighborhood officials. So getting to know your neighbors, having lines of communications with the neighborhood association, police officers, and other organizations that can help us reduce crime quickly when it's happening, or prevent crime before it happens. Reducing crime by encouraging residents to offer their safety solutions specifically to their block. Nobody knows your block better than you do, or your neighbor. If you see patterns happening within your neighborhood and you think there are solutions that are worth trying out, there are people and organizations within the neighborhood willing to help. And then increasing trust in community block by block through block hosted parties. So we've discussed having the block captain program and the block captains help with planning block events, whether those are cleanups or a block party with food and barbecue and whatnot, but getting people out of their houses, getting to know each other, and building trust through community events. So again, the public safety committee is in early discussions. If you would like to be a part of building this committee or being a part of it, again, reach out to myself or anyone on the association. Shoot me an email, forestparksoutheast@gmail.com, and we'd love to get you involved. More information will come on this later, but does anyone have any questions on this committee or interest in it, or anything they'd like to discuss before we move into award updates? All right, cool. More information will come on that. I'm going to jump into some more award updates. These all come from Tina Peel. I will just kind of read them verbatim and speak to them how I can, but in 2 days, Thursday, she will have office hours at City Greens from 4:30 to 6 p.m. There will be a Lindell Kings Highway development meeting to discuss the development happening at Lindell and Kings Highway on April 26th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Schlafly Library, as well as Zoom. I do not have the Zoom link, but once we have it, I can share that out if you would like to join that. She mentioned a harm reduction kickoff session in response to fentanyl overdoses in February. In response to the fentanyl overdoses in February, where at least 6, and this session is a 6-month building initiative. If you would like to be a part of this response and the session, you can attend at Cortex at 4220 Duncan Assembly Innovation Hall on April 30th at 11 a.m. Few more ward updates here. City Garden Montessori Block Party for school building expansion. That's happening on May 7th at 209 Belozum Avenue. Alderwoman Peel plans to have an annual report available in May. And then if you'd like to keep up to date with what the Alderwoman is doing within our ward and the updates within our ward, you can subscribe to her newsletter at tinasweetpeel.com/pound subscribe. I said pound and not hashtag. I'm proud of myself. All right, a few more things. You can apply to be on the Forest Park South Infrastructure Committee. I think it's an awesome opportunity to be on a board that helps improve our neighborhood's roads, parks, and sidewalks and more. I think Alan is here. He is, but stop. I think Alan's here and he could probably talk a little bit more about the infrastructure committee than I can. I won't put him on the spot, but Alan, if you'd like to speak anything about the infrastructure committee, I'll turn it over to you for a minute. Alan, I think you're on mute. Stop. There you go.
All right, how's that? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just a few notes. The infrastructure committee right now is probably going to be most interested in possibly designing and funding a pavilion in Shoto Park. And so we would like people who might be interested in helping with that. That would be really, really great. And other than that, I think we would love to have representatives from different areas of the community just to represent their own issues around infrastructure problems such as sidewalks, streets, lighting, bus stops, things like that. So it's it has been a really good committee. I've been on it for some years now and I love it. So if you are interested, really fill out the form that Kelly has at her site, I believe, and or just give me a call or talk to me on my email, and we'll get started. We're hoping to have our first meeting within the month, I think. So that's it. If you have any questions, I can't. I'll send my email to you, Dan. Okay, and you can have it available there. Okay.
Sounds great.
That's it. Any questions?
I will drop a link to apply for the infrastructure committee. I'm typing as I speak. Look at that. There we go. Boom. Kim, I see your chat about inviting the infrastructure committee to take a walk around the 4,400 blocks of Swan and Norfolk, including alleyways. I think that's an awesome idea. The infrastructure is not put together quite yet, but I think that is definitely something of interest, certainly for the infrastructure committee to do. So I'll jot that down, and I think Alan and folks can take note of that as well.
You know, Aaron, I spoke with you a little while ago when we were on the street, and you are an architect, if I recall. That would be really a useful addition to the committee. So if you're interested, I would really encourage you to join. Okay, not excluding anyone else, but I think Aaron would be a good choice. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Lastly, all the Woodman Peel has indicated and shared that applications for her development committee are coming mid-May. I think it's applicable to the Forest Park Southeast neighborhood. I don't have many details on the boundaries of it or the application itself, but I know that you've been working with folks within the neighborhood to help develop that application. So look, if you're interested in being on a development committee that helps inform the developments that are happening within our neighborhood, stay on the lookout for that. We will certainly share out a link and more information to that once we receive it. Kim, I see your comment about the infrastructure committee. I believe they're making selections later this week. Selections won't be all completely done by then. I think there is a rolling application, as it's been called. But I would think that you should hear back about your application by the end of the week or a few days after they've made reviews and decisions.
Sure.
Any questions about ward updates before we move on to the crime and safety report with Officer Walker? Awesome. Officer Walker, if you have anything you'd like to share, would love to hear from you.
Hello, everyone. I hope you guys have had a chance to review the weekly crime reports we put out along with the weekly flyers. It's beginning to be summertime again. The car closets are picking up. Car break-ins are picking up. We've had some auto thefts and just some things to remind about when you go to the gas pump to be visual. One of our other things that's picking up is the firearms inside the cars. People are leaving their firearms in their car unsecured. Criminals are breaking in and they're getting these guns. It's possible that if you leave your firearm in the car and someone breaks in your car and steals it, you can be cited for having an unsecure weapon inside your car. So with that being in mind, I would suggest you buy a gun safe, a gun lock for your vehicle and have it mounted inside your car. So when you go somewhere and you get to one of these places where you can't take your weapon in, you can secure your gun in a safe. You know, it makes it a little hard for the criminals to get your weapon. It's a big issue we have going on, especially in you guys' neighborhood along that Grove strip, Grove and Shoto, when people go into the clubs. We're getting guns stolen out, maybe 2 or 3 each night from party goers. So if you can, if it's something valuable, keep it at home, take it with you, lock it up, put it in your trunk before you get there, because remind yourself that even though you don't think anyone can see you, someone is always watching. And when you're away, they're turning up these cars, jumping in and taking your things out. On top of that, the burglaries are not that high in you guys' neighborhood. I think we had a couple. A couple of those, I believe, came from the construction sites and house being rehab. Year to date for your aggravated assaults in the neighborhood, you had 4. Robberies, you guys have not had any in Forest Park. You guys have 1 homicide this month. The burglaries took place in this month. We had 3 incidents. Out of those 3, we did have 2 arrests. So we have 1 case that's still active. Cadillac converter thefts. You guys have had a total of 5 all year, 1 this month, 2 last month, 1 in February, and 1 in January. So with that, just be mindful with the flyers. I send those out to Forest Park Southeast and the alderperson in NIZO. If you guys can share those flyers with everyone, I truly appreciate it. If you don't get them, let me know. I'm also going to put my email in here, but I was trying to have the neighborhood association distribute those flyers out to the neighborhood because their list of residents will be longer than mine. Upcoming events, I am hosting an event May 21st from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it's going to be down at the Gravois Plaza at Gravois and Bamberger. I was trying to pick an area where we have a lot of crime and it doesn't have a lot of resources, and that area kind of stuck out to me. So this will be the first of hopefully many events to come. If you can come out, you know, we'd love to see you. We're going to have Fred Bird, we're going to have Louis, and some other things and people there. The neighborhood, all the persons, the NIS, sharing they may have. We will be giving away gun locks. And also with that in mind, if you need a gun lock, please let me know. I can get you a gun lock. You can call me, email, or call the station, and we can get you that. I will also be giving away gun locks at this event. But again, if you have any questions for me, if you know any crime locations or locations that we need to be looking at, let me know. I got an email regarding the address on Shoto, where I guess the residents was contacting Mr. White about some things going on at an Airbnb. And I had to remind him that if we need the residents to call 911, call non-emergency so that we can dispatch cars out. You know, if you're seeing something and you're not reporting it to us, we don't know, you know, something's going on there. And we can't call in the owner of this place if we don't have the calls. We need 3 calls a year to any residents to bring them in for a nuisance issue. So if you see somebody, you know, hanging out, drinking beer, smoking, whatever it is, and you know they shouldn't be there, give us a call so we can have an officer respond. Use the address that's the property. That way it's going to that address. But again, don't get discouraged and be like, you can give your address and think that your address to be tagged. That won't happen. You can say, hey, this is my address, and after, you know, this house is right next door, right across the street if you don't know it. But we need those calls in order to pull those folks in. Burglaries. If you notice a burglary, you come home and you notice your house has been burglarized or your business has been burglarized, give us a call as soon as possible. We need officers to come out, view the damage, and also have our ETU officers come out to fingerprint. If you're waiting a couple of days, you're going through your house, moving things, you're touching things, it's going to be hard for our ETU officers to get prints. Officers need to respond out as soon as possible to get these reports done. Some folks email me. 9 times out of 10, the majority of these calls come to work. I'm off the clock. I'm not getting it. So I always call the 911 or the 9-emergency. And, you know, if you want to shoot me an email and I can follow up. But when these crimes are happening, I need you to call 911 or the 9-emergency number. And just remember not to touch anything until the officers get there, because we do not want to contaminate the scene. Same with your cars. If your car is broken into and you have a firearm in there, try not to touch anything else also, because I believe they may fingerprint these cars depending on what's stolen out of the car. But with that in mind, if there's anything anyone wants me to look at, put it in the comments, send me an email or give me a call. I'll put my information in here shortly.
Any questions for?
Clubs of Manchester.
Go ahead.
The Clubs of Manchester is pretty much anywhere. These guys are basically hitting the parking lots and streets, dark areas. So Shoto by the Rockwell Beer. We done had things down by the Shoto and I'm sorry, the Bamber. The Shoto and I think I'm gonna say it wrong. Takesha Bar. I could be saying it wrong. We had some by Earth Chestnuts. It's just any parking lots out there. You know, they're not manned. People parking. It's dark. They're coming in. Side streets, Talmadge, Kentucky, Vanderbilt is dark. They're getting in there. They're breaking in. We tried to deflect this weekend by putting one of our shell cars up there, but we still had like a total of 5 cars broken into over the weekend up there. We put the sky top out, but that just pushes them further along down the block. So it's not no your specific place. They're just hitting anywhere from the 42 to the 4500 block of Manchester and the 11 and 1300 block of Vander, breaking in cars at night. You know, Vander is pretty much dark. Rockwell closes at like 10 on the weekdays, maybe 11 or 12 on midnight, so it's no one over there. They said they're going to try to lighten up their location and maybe get in contact with the Grove about saying about if their secondary patrols can, you know, give them a little extra patrol also. We're working on our end with extra patrols, trying to get officers to sign up to work the night shift when these things are happening. Of course, crimes between Sour Grove South.
Any other questions for Officer Walker before we move on to any neighborhood updates from Ron Coleman? All right. As for the emails that Officer Walker sends to the neighborhood association every week, I think what the neighborhood association can do is set up a separate sign up tab for her newsletters, not to overwhelm everyone with emails. So what I will do is on our website, and I can shoot out an email as well and ask for anybody who is interested in receiving what Officer Walker sends out, if they want to be on that newsletter, I can add you to that. So look for that in the coming days. I'll say days. With that, thank you, Officer Walker. Thanks for dropping in your information into the chat. If anyone needs to reach her, her number and her email are in the chat and on the screen. All right, moving on. Neighborhood updates. Mr. Coleman, anything that you would like to share today?
It's been a while since I've been able to stay on and talk to you guys. So, and I do see a lot of people that I'm not familiar with. So you're probably not familiar with me. And I just would like to introduce myself again. I'm Ron with the City of St. Louis. I'm your neighborhood improvement specialist, for better or worse. And my job is just to be the ears on the ground, the eyes on the street, listen to you guys, be the mediator between other city departments, including the police, street department, Brightside St. Louis, neighborhood associations, institutions. Anytime you have an idea or a concern, a complaint that you don't feel is getting addressed, I will do my best to smooth things out, get you to the right person. I know a lot of you have complaints that I haven't been able to give you the answers that you want, but I will be honest and I'll do my best. Can't always promise you'll be happy, but I am supposed to be the one that loosens the cog in the wheel, supposedly. So that being said, I know there's other things that are frustrating right now. I just want to say that the labor shortage is really affecting the city right now, as it probably is in your business as well. But we're short trash truck drivers, forestry, police, everything. So people are calling me more now because they're not getting the services that they expect. And I certainly understand that. There still, unfortunately, is no end in sight for when refuse is going to stop commingling recycle with landfill. So right now you're getting everything picked up in one truck. So if you do want to recycle, you have to find one of those. Just go over to the Brightside location at it's across from the Quick Trip on Kings Highway, right by the the highway there, and they have a place where you can drop off your recycle. Other day-to-day things are just, there's a rehabber that didn't quite do things right, and we had a home collapse on Hunt in the last few weeks. So we're working on getting that demoed and cleared out. Trees, we had some trees planted. If you do want a new tree in front of your home, I know Dan is working with Forest Relief, and then the city also has programs that we can help with. So I think my main point is just to let you guys know I'm pretty much city central everything. So feel free to contact me. Dan or somebody can put my contact info in the notes if it's not already on the slide. But anyway, thanks everyone. Dan, you're doing a great job. The board's doing great, and neighborhood's on the rise. So you're doing most things right. So keep it up.
Oh, appreciate that. I will drop in your contact information right there. Lisa, are you asking how do we get a tree from the forestry department or from Forest Relief, and what the association is trying to put together?
For the city, if you call me or call the Citizen Service Bureau or email me and say that you want a tree or you have a dead tree that needs to be removed, then we will get you on the list, and that will be funded the next year, the next planting season. So that's usually in very late winter is when the trees are planted in your area. So yeah, please let me know, and then also pay attention to Dan's program that he's got. We're working with forestry on those trees.
Okay, I'm on Swan. It appears, I moved in this summer, but it appears there's a couple of trees missing from our street that would be nice to have reinstated. I think they're dogwoods, but I'm not sure. So that would be a Ron question email or a Dan email? I'll email you both. And you can let me know who.
Why don't you send an email to both of us and copy both of us on the same email, and then we'll figure it out.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, as for the working with Forest Relief, and what I and the association are trying to do is, one, identify plots or parcels just like what you have done there, and check to see with the corresponding neighbors if they would like a tree planted at that spot, and then compiling a list. It sounds daunting, it kind of is, but compiling that list of where trees can be planted, sending that to forestry, and trying to figure out what trees can be planted at that spot depending on the width of the lawn, the street lawn, and the makeup of what trees are already there, and then working with Forest Relief on identifying within their stock what trees can be made available. Those would be planted by individuals and residents versus forestry planting slightly larger trees themselves. So it just depends on which you prefer, and I think there's a little bit more timing involved with forestry in their list, whereas Forest Relief could probably happen this fall if we get our ducks in order.
Yeah, and we have a better survival rate with the saplings, which Forest Relief uses. So they're only, a foot or two tall. So forestry likes them because they have a chance to grow their roots slowly and get adapted to that soil. So the survival rate's much higher for the saplings than a bigger tree that could easily die out. So it takes longer, obviously, to grow, but just some pros and cons to each of those options.
Okay, well, I won the Arbor Foundation lottery, and I have 10 saplings living in my living room. They will die because I cannot keep a plant alive, so I need help. because they're just little tiny twigs.
Oh,
Do you know what kind of trees they are?
Redbuds, dogwood, crabapple, and something else.
Okay, well, those could fit in front yards then, not necessarily in the city tree line. So if anyone wanted one of those for their own personal property, that'd be nice.
Any other
Okay.
questions for
Thanks,
Ron?
everybody.
All right. Cool. Moving on to our guest speakers. Thank you all for being so patient. Chandra, Sean, Jen, Andrew, if I missed anyone, I'm so sorry. Does anyone, well, first, welcome. And second of all, if you guys would like to introduce yourselves, the floor is yours.
Sure. We didn't have a formal way of doing this. I can start sharing my screen because we have a presentation, and then I can go and introduce myself and everyone as well. But I am Chandra Taylor. And as you can see by the slide, I'm with Vector Communications. Dan, is it okay to share?
Yeah, I will make you a co-host, and you can take the screen.
Great.
Cool.
So hopefully everyone can see my screen now. So as I said, I'm Chandra Taylor, and I'm with Vector Communications. We are the public engagement consultant on the Future 64 study. And on the call with me is Sean Tooley. He is the project manager for MoDOT. And there is Jennifer Wade, and she is the area engineer. And I don't know if Andy came on with us, but Andy Pottis is with HDR. They are the engineering, lead engineering consulting firm on the study. So Future 64 is a transportation study that we're doing in the Central Corridor, and that is between Kings Highway and Jefferson. And to the north, we're talking about Forest Park Avenue, and to the south, Shoto Manchester. And as we look within this, it's about 3 miles, as we look within this area, we really want to understand what's going on infrastructure-wise, and how we can create enhancements or improvements to that existing infrastructure. So what we have here is a 13-month PEL study, and that's PEL, and it stands for Planning and Environmental Linkages Study. And it's really our approach to how we will be looking at this corridor. So what we know about the infrastructure in general, what we know about this corridor, infrastructure is aging, not just in St. Louis or Missouri, but everywhere, as we've heard. And so we really wanted to focus on, what's going on and how we can make it better. And we want to use the community as the conduit for giving us that information. Really looking at how it's being used, why it's being used, where people are going, and how we can use that to develop our potential solutions at the end of this study. This is a highly collaborative process. We are working with a number of partners that exist in the corridor and in the region that focus on transportation networks. We are looking at many studies, as we do stakeholder interviews, and we're talking to the key stakeholders in the corridor. They send me biking studies, crash reports, all things that are coming in. We are taking all of that information and using it to progress with our study. So here's our study map. As I mentioned, Forest Park, Market Street to the north, Manchester Shoto to the south, Kings Highway to Jefferson. And this is east of Kings Highway and west of Jefferson. Along I-64, we are looking at the right-of-way, we're looking at ramps. We are, just evaluating the highway system, how it's used again, all things that have to do with the highway and the interstate. We are looking at that. And then we are looking at the roadways and the surface streets within the corridor. We're also looking at public transit. There's been studies that have happened in the recent history that have really looked at, the way transit moves, timing, things of that nature. So it might not be as in depth as that, but we are looking at the possibility to collaborate with what's out there right now and to see how we can, again, create enhancements for those different things. So the partners that we speak of, we have already met with the city. We have them on board. They are, we meet with them, not solely them, but we meet with them as a larger group monthly. We have them at the table. Their recommendations, suggestions are being baked into this work as well. East-West Gateway is there. Great Rivers Greenway, as you guys may know, they do tons of neighborhood presentations. I'm sure they've been to Forest Park Southeast and talked to you guys, but they have infrastructure in the corridor as well, right? So as we think about the Brick Line and how that'll move through the central corridor, north, south, and east, west, it's really good to have them there. And then Metro St. Louis. And as we think about the bus routes and Metrolink and paratransit services and how they move through this corridor, it's really good to have them at the table to discuss, what their needs are and how they can benefit the surrounding area. So this is about technical tasks. So right now we are, again, doing heavy research into everything that's going on. So we're looking at those existing conditions, like I said, what's already happening there, these transportation networks, be it, like I said, surface streets, highways, public transit. We're really just looking at the movement of people, goods, and those services in this corridor. Environmental analysis, we are looking at those, that carbon footprint, those greenhouse emissions, and other things that are going on that could impact this this corridor. And when we think about our outcomes, we really want innovative solutions to address these environmental impacts or concerns or whatever that may come up that we find in our studies. We are, data collection, that bike ped facility assessment, that's important as we look at traffic and how cars are moving and then how the people are moving in conjunction with those vehicles, and really just understanding what those needs are and not skipping over them simply because they aren't in vehicles, right? So then we get into our public engagement tasks. So while these technical tasks are going on, the engineers are handling all of that work. I have been doing stakeholder interviews with, like I said, a number of key stakeholders. I believe we are over 20 interviews at this point. That information is all wrapped up into a summary and given to MoDOT for them to, add into the rest of the research that they find. We have or are developing our community advisory groups and our technical advisory groups. We have upcoming meetings that we have planned. So we are building those out. If anyone is interested in being in the CAG, please let me know. And we can get you squared away. We have a commuter survey that we've actually kicked off yesterday and today. We were in the Grove actually earlier today. If you've seen anyone between a small group of folks between 4 and 7 or Manchester, they were in between Newstead and Boyle, and they had iPads and they were asking folks to take the commuter survey. It's about 4 to 5 minutes. I'm told by my team. And at 6 o'clock, we were at 12 surveys, which is really good to be out there on the ground for the first day getting these surveys. So we have that going on, and we'll be in many other locations. Tomorrow, we will be at the Foundry So if you are hungry between the hours of 4 to 7 and you go to the food hall, you will be able to take the commuter survey. There will be public meetings. We have a public meeting scheduled here early May, and then we will have another one towards the end of the project. However, when we have our in-person, we will also have a virtual component as well. So you'll be able to go online if you aren't able to be in person, or if you just want to see it on your own time, you'll be able to get that same information. After our public meetings, we're going to have pop-up meetings. So something that kind of simulates the in-person in some kind of way. We will have those within the community as well. So people can get information, give their feedback, and understand what we have delivered to the community in the public meetings. And of course, there will be online engagement for you all to get feedback on your neighborhoods and transportation needs. So here we have the study's purpose and need. I definitely can go through it, but I don't know, Sean, are you prepared to talk about the purpose and need? Or are you prepared? You're always prepared to talk about the purpose and need. But you go right ahead.
I do my best to be prepared.
Yes.
Yes, thank you all for joining us. Again, Modot, project manager, leading the planning side of this study. And so purpose need is a critical element in that as a part of the Federal Highway environmental process, which we call the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA for short, if we want to receive federal funds for any projects, any construction projects that come out of a study such as this, we have to not only go through the NEPA process, but this is the first milestone activity that the Federal Highway or federal government reviews. And so this is essentially a why are we here, and a what are the major issues and what do we hope to achieve. In planning, we call this goals and objectives. Here it's reworded as purpose and need as we go through this planning process. And so this is a critical element in that it shapes the infrastructure changes that we even entertain, i.e. If somebody said the pedestrian safety is, if we heard from the community and stakeholders and general public that pedestrian safety was a major issue, then that would go in as a need category. And the result is that as we create a list of conceptual alternatives, we have to have in that conceptual alternative somehow pedestrian safety has to translate into actual outcomes. And then we review, then we screen those conceptual alternatives using purpose and need. And we say, now what actually met purpose need? Not only did we use it to help us create the conceptual ones, and sometimes you have ones that are surprises. And then we screen against purpose need to say, now we can't do all these 100 conceptual. Now we need to screen it down to only a handful, in this case, 3 reasonable alternatives. And again, reasonable alternatives is NEPA language, just like conceptual was and just like purpose need was. And so we have to judge ourselves, are we actually delivering on that need of pedestrian safety? Are we including things like rectangular rapid flashing beacons or pedestrian refuge islands or other kind of measures that improve pedestrian safety? So we're trying to be, purpose need helps us be responsive to what we hear from general public, community organizations such as this, and community stakeholders.
Thanks, Sean. So how do you get involved and influence the decision-making? There was conversation about, should we say influence? Should we not say influence? Well, of course, MoDOT will have the ultimate, they're the ultimate decision makers in the projects that we choose and how things are implemented. However, we are definitely asking the community to come out and participate and tell us what you want to see. So you do this by attending meetings, taking the survey, the commuter survey, attending the pop-ups, and just spreading the word. Our survey is, I think they call it like beta. So we are working through our content right now, but in a few days, we should have this up and fully functioning. But definitely future64.com is where you will go to find out all project information and upcoming details. Our study timeline. So we've actually done so much in such a short amount of time, being that this is just mid-April, but we started in January. And like I said, CAG, TAG, and public meeting will exist in May, where we are leading up right now to the purpose and need. That's where all of our attention is right now. But then we go into alternatives development this summer. And like I said, there will be another CAG, TAG meeting, and then we will go into our public meeting, our second public meeting in the study, and we will wrap this up winter 2023. So I've been talking about it the whole time, but yes, here are our dates. So commuter survey will run for 30 days. Like I said, we're doing it now. We have our street team. They will be out there 3 days this week, starting today, 3 days next week, at different locations. I will be at the BJC stop. We'll be at the Grand Station. Like I said, the Foundry. I'm working on the Cortex right now. So we will be out. If you are in the community and about, you will see us. And then May 11th, we have our first public meeting, and all of you all are definitely welcome. And you will be getting an invitation to come. If there are any questions, feel free to ask me right now. Use the QR code if you would like. That is to the commuter survey. It will take you right there. Like I said, 4 to 5 minutes at your leisure. Feel free to take it. But that is that. So any questions? Okay.
Would it be okay if we share this? Bud, I'll come to you in a minute. Sorry. Oh, gosh. Is it okay if we share this?
We usually like to include this information in our meeting minutes, if that's okay with y'all.
What I can do, I'll send you an email with the QR code and everything all ready to go. And then you can add that. Is that okay?
That'd be great.
Okay, I'll get that out to you soon. But if you have any questions, want to know more, want to know how to get on that community advisory group, let me know. That's my email. You can get to me at any time.
Awesome.
This is Jen Wade. Before I just can't not say anything because I'm very excited about this project too. I'm the area engineer for the city, and I work for MoDOT, but my area is the city of St. Louis. So it's a really exciting time, you guys. The exit and entrance ramps for I-64 or Highway 40, I don't know, they're just maybe not the most clear in this corridor. It's because they're old and they were put there a long time ago. And we suspect they might not be in the right place to make sense for people who live and work in this area. So really, this is like a super unique, once in a generation opportunity to actually put in your input now, so we can make this stretch work better for the people that live right on the corridor and the people who try to visit and actually get around and know how to get back to the highway when they get off. So we don't know really what's going to come out of it, but with your input, we are expecting to get the best projects we can. We can't do that without you guys. So thanks for your input.
I guess I'll add to that. So although the focus for MoDOT is, of course, to have improvements that are highway focused, we recognize that the highway may not be the best fit with the community today, as Jen was saying, the location of the ramps, that it might be maybe not the best fit for being a cyclist or a pedestrian or transit user. And so although we will definitely need to have transportation improvements that inform our work with our right-of-way, for MoDOT, we This is a planning study, so it is able to go beyond MoDOT's right away to say, how does MoDOT's infrastructure work with bike, ped, transit, micromobility, et cetera, to make transportation work in general, I mean, throughout this whole study area. And so, you know, we do want to hear from you about issues and needs, not just for, you know, the highway ramps, but just how can we make this a better fit? And better fit also means how can we think more multimodal and how those modes can be better supported and better used and not inhibited by the highway as much. And does this support other community needs besides transportation? Does this serve environmental sustainability or equity or public health? Tell us about that. We want to hear about it because we are trying to take a holistic, broad approach that is allowed in planning to make sure that this is a vision that is not just for MoDOT's highway system, but this is a vision for this central corridor area of the city to work together better. So transportation community together.
It's pretty neat to hear that you're thinking through like a people first approach to a solution rather than a highway MoDOT driven solution, which is great. Thank you for that. Any other questions for the group? There's one last slide with just some next steps and wrap ups, but any other questions? All right, cool. Well, thank you all for coming in and being a speaker today and sharing this exciting project and what it can be and what it can shape that central corridor. I am gonna. You guys are free to stay. There's only one more slide, but you guys can also hop off. I'm gonna go back and share my screen. Here real quickly. All right. Just some follow-up next steps. Next meeting is Tuesday, May 17th. Our first cleanup is May 22nd or 21st, followed by a flower planting on May 22nd. If you would like to apply for the infrastructure committee, we can send a link out for that again. The deadline for that is April 22nd. Decisions for that will be made hopefully shortly soon after that. Alderwoman Peel's office hours are April 26th. Is that right? I don't know if I got that right. Yeah, April 21st are her office hours at City Green. And then we will also share out the survey for everyone to take and influence the decision of what is going to happen within our own ward and neighborhood. If you guys have any other questions, comments or concerns, do shoot us an email. And we'll get back to you. There's nothing else to add. I'll say good night and thanks for everyone for joining.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Nice meeting everyone.
Likewise. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.